Hello, you guys. Welcome to another episode of Locals Doing Local Things. Today, we have head coach for Napa Valley 1839, Mark Corbett. Sir, how you doing?
Good, Danny. How are you?
Good, good, good. I'm glad you're able to join us, as I'm sure a lot of the fans are really, interested in your character overall, right? We haven't had an insight of you since you joined back in 2020 when it was projected to actually start the league. Correct? That's when you came here.
Yeah, that's correct. I arrived here with my wife Sarah, February 2020, uh, right at the back of pre-season. My visa took a lot longer than we expected, so I had about 2 weeks working with the team with Lito away. So within that 2 weeks, we worked very defensively, tried to be solid, and fortunate was able to win that first game 1-0 in San Francisco at the Kezar Stadium. And then come back and played Oakland Roots' kind of reserve team, Project 510. Unfortunately, that was a 2-1 loss in a tight game that could have gone either way. And then the pandemic hit, and it was game over really, until just recent. So yeah, we didn't get to do really anything collectively in the early stages of that. We had a few Zoom meetings. A physio from Portsmouth that I have good contact with. He recommended what he was doing with the players on Strava. So I was using his knowledge and setting some conditioning runs for the players. But because it was on Strava, I was able to set a group up on that and give them some targets to hit. So they were working hard on their own when we thought it was going to be a small break, and then it kind of got more and more serious. So it was kind of we had to kind of close things down then, and just hope it wasn't going to take as long as it actually did.
No, yeah, I think we all thought it was going to be, a month or two, a break period, but we extended to where we are now, which is obviously looking good on the audience that we got this weekend, which is, I think I was counting like around 350 people. I'm not sure. Eric might have bigger numbers for us, but I think the fans definitely came through on this when everyone's ready to just come out and support this team. How did you feel about the fans being there?
Oh, it was amazing. It was so good, and a huge shout out to Perfect Puree. What a great idea to be the match day sponsor, but to basically sponsor the first 200 people in for free, which was great. It got people there early, so it was an atmosphere building during warm up before the game. I think Eric said final figures were just over 500, so that was great. But yeah, really, really thankful to those local sponsors that we have, and in particular this game was Perfect Puree to get 200 people in for free. And yeah, by the reactions during the game, and speaking to some people in the stands after the game, they were happy with what they saw, albeit ended up in a narrow loss.
No, yeah, I think if anyone that was there live, I'm sure they enjoyed the game, the atmosphere. It was nice. I liked how everyone was pumped up, especially when Ramirez dropped that goal. Right, I think
Yeah,
that's when we got the whole crowd up there. Really.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and even when we went 1-0 down, right on half time, which is obviously always a terrible time to concede. Walking off at half time, the fans in there were kind of applauding the team and wishing them the best for the second half, and that we kind of played on that at half time and said you got an opportunity to get a good crowd behind you, and that's exactly what happened when Baby Shark scored the equaliser. Um, Fred, shout out to him for leading the Green Army with his green smoke bombs, getting everyone going with the drums, and yeah, really really looked like it was only going to be one winner for the amount of dominance that we had in the second half. But it was just, yeah, it's just so unfortunate to concede right at the end, on a corner, um, after having one goal very narrowly disallowed for offside, and then another one that I think everyone thought scored, but went straight through the side netting with a powerful shot. I think it was Baby Shark that ripped the net from the goal, which has put that hole in there in the first place, because it definitely wasn't there when the refs checked it at the start of the second half.
No, yeah, I think everyone went crazy when that goal went on the side of the net, and yeah, I think believe Chewy, one of the commentators as well, said I think Baby Shark is the one that ripped the net, right? Because
Yeah,
we don't recall that being there ever.
it was exactly in that spot where when he cut inside on his left foot and hit it in there. Yeah, I mean, it went in with very powerful, didn't it?
No, yeah, it was an absolute great strike. But back to you, really, how long have you been coaching for the fans that don't know much about you? If you could start off with your early legacy, was it back in England as well? Was that where your coaching day started?
Yeah, so I probably started coaching 2006. Started just with a grassroots team, wanting to do some coaching badges, and then I had an opportunity in 2007 to come over with MLS camps with a few of my friends. Unfortunately, they all got, well, I thought, unfortunately, at the time, and it turns out I was hit the jackpot coming to the West Coast, but they were all based on the East Coast. And then when I come a few months later, because I wasn't 21 until the May. So I come out in June and got put on the West Coast and all over Northern California. Um, had host families, done a week or two. So like Palo Alto, uh, Dublin, Orangevale, and then in Napa. And then the Housley family were a host family of mine. And then we just hit it off, become good friends. We were always, when I went left Napa to then be based more near San Francisco. When I had weekends off, I was always coming back up to Napa to hang out. Just loved the place. And then when it was time for me to go in November, um, Eric, Hannah, and Alex, and Elena, and Adam, and Samara, all the Housley guys come over to England to visit my family, and we took them to some Chelsea games. And then ever since then, we've always been back and forth, coming to visit in Napa. I've done a camp with Portsmouth out here in Napa, and they've been back and forth. And then yeah, when 1839 got set up, it was always a bit of a pipe dream to eventually be the head coach for the team. But when I did come back in November, had a year working at Chelsea, left there, went to Portsmouth, had 10 years at Portsmouth, which I learned so much with some great coaches there, to a point where it was time to make a move and do something different. And then the opportunity with 1839 come up, paired along with working in the community with Napa United and the academy teams. Was an opportunity that me and my wife Sarah wanted to take, to move, live in a new country, and just felt so welcomed ever since we've arrived here. It's really feeling like home, in such a short period of time of being here.
No, yeah, I think no wonder that makes sense. So you and Eric knew each other before, coming to 1839. You guys had a connection, like you said. They would go over, and you would come over here as well, right?
Yeah, I would actually I'd actually watch the 1839 games on the live stream when I think it was Mike Cujo that was doing it then.
Mm-hmm.
And bearing in mind the games were kind of like 2 o'clock in the morning, like I'd be at home, or if I was after I'd played, and were maybe on a train on the way home, we'd be watching the games of my Cujo. So I was an 1839 fan before I was a coach. That's for sure.
That's cool. You guys hear it here. You know, Mark isn't just the head coach. He was a fan before this, so it's kind of now passion for the team. Really representing the crest. How Gary was saying, it's something you become prideful of now that not you're the actual head coach. But I think another thing I just recently learned was that you were coaching for Chelsea back in the day as well. How long ago was that?
Yeah, so that was I arrived back in England in November 2007, and then kind of January 2008. I actually had a contract to come back to the US, but I met my now wife Sarah during that Christmas period. Got a job at Chelsea, and it was kind of it was really good. Had good things going back home, so I decided not to go, not to come back to America, stay working in England, see how things went with Sarah. And 14 years later, we're married, so it kind of worked out well. But yeah, with Chelsea, it was great. It was this the team I support, so it was great working for the club. But if I'm going to be totally honest, I never thought it was going to be the best for a career move, because when you're working at such a huge club like Chelsea, lots of ex-professional players kind of come in at those academy jobs quite often. So it worked going to a they were a Premier League team at the time, Portsmouth, but went all the way down to League Two and are on their way back up now. But I had 10 years there, and I went there as a community coach, worked through as an area manager, worked in the academy through various age groups, then got in as a development program manager. So from a career point of view, there was a lot more progression I was going to be able to get at Portsmouth than I was at Chelsea. So I'll definitely say I learned so much more being at Portsmouth. But Chelsea was a good dream job to start with, but was never going to be a long term ambition.
That's good inside information because a lot of people, like you said, think, oh yeah, I got a big job here, but like you said, even in the more recent years, they do call up ex players. They rather have a big name. I feel like in this case, Pirlo or Zidane with Madrid, and same as Lampard when he was coaching Chelsea, and that makes so much sense. It comes to that, but
Yeah,
it looks.
exactly. And like it's like Ashley Cole's coaching in the academy, and when those big name players who have played for the club and they've got the opportunity, then of course the clubs are gonna give them an opportunity, and the players will learn a lot. But I always think that it doesn't necessarily great players automatically become great coaches. I think it's two different jobs, to be honest. Some do, but some don't, and likewise, some not very good players are excellent coaches as well.
No, yeah, I think we've seen that a lot in this evolution of coaches that are upcoming. They weren't such great players. Could probably include myself, and I could probably coach a nice U10 team or something like that, and I'll probably do good. But no, yeah, definitely. Any significant coaching strategies that you learned back then that you have implemented it, for example, in 1839 or the Napa Valley College women's team that have helped you? Would it be from Portsmouth or would it be from somewhere else that you learned?
So Portsmouth was obviously the um, day-to-day learn. I think more of the management side. I think my old boss Craig will say I was never really still and happy. Every time we got something up and running, it was right, how can we make it better? Right, we do that, then how can we make it better and make changes and additions? But since joining University of South Wales, I've done my bachelor's degree there, and I'm currently just about to finish my master's in advanced performance football coaching. The tutors, the other candidates on the course, I've learned so much in those kind of 4 or 5 years of being associated with the university. That's where lots of kind of methodology, practice plans, psychology, all that kind of stuff. I've been studying it, so not just seeing how it works on the grass, but understanding the science behind it has really kind of developed me as well, I think. So University of South Wales has definitely had a big impact on me as a coach.
I see. No, yeah, and I think we saw it in this weekend. I haven't really seen a team, an 1839 team, come out so strong like that. And I'm sure you had some say in it, according to the game we saw. So now going into the game, what are your overall thoughts when I think we talked about this right before recording, is we all thought at a moment's time we were going to win up by at least a goal or two in the second half, even though, that penalty got called in late in the first half. That still motivated those players and the fans to keep going.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like a shout out to the players as well. We've been having 30 plus players at all of our practices, which I know wasn't always the case in previous years for a number of reasons. Um, but having those big numbers, you can do lots of 11v11 and really make it realistic to what it looks like when you're going to play a game. So just that last session that we had before the game, we were set up in our shape. I had a good idea from watching Davis play Academica, the video of that game. If I was able to go and watch it live, I was planning on doing it, but I had commitments with Napa United that I couldn't get out there for that game. But I was able to kind of suss what their strengths were going to be, the system they were going to play. So we had 11 players in training that I managed. I put them in the shape, got them a style of play which I thought was going to represent Davis. So it give us a 30-minute period of being able to play against them, deal with the strengths I thought they were going to have, and potentially exploit some weaknesses that I saw in them. So yeah, that's kind of what a training session will look like.
No, yeah, I think we mentioned it in during the live play-by-play commentary. We thought, Davis was gonna go all out as well, but as we kept retracking, they kind of sat back a little bit. That we didn't really see, their powerhouses as we would mention them. I think Owen Power was one of them. Besides the penalty, we didn't see much of him. It was really the back line that was kind of keeping you guys from scoring at a point. But any players that stood out for you from our side, from 1839, that
Yeah.
probably helped hold that line as as an attacking and defending combination.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know him personally, but I know the guys know him through playing for 1839 during the Members' Cup. So they, I was made aware of what a good player he is and what an influence he has on the game. So our plan was to flood the midfield, make sure we didn't give him as much time and space as what he would like. And I did actually think first half we were a little bit too deep and a little bit too far off. And we made those corrections at half time, and the boys were excellent in the second half. And as you said just before we come on air, it was really one way in the second half, and they didn't really offer too much other than the odd counter attack. But the just really switching off, and from a corner, which was disappointing. And I said to the guys last night when we were practicing again, and we went over that play, it was a slight misunderstanding for our defensive setup from the corner. So that was definitely a learning curve for me, to make sure that everyone was fully aware of their roles, and make sure that they know to ask questions if they're not. Because I think that goal was even if they did get the free header, I think it was easily sort of savable. Not that Sucre done anything wrong, but in terms of the bodies where we would have liked to expect them defending the goal, I think that wouldn't have gone in. But so that was maybe a little bit on my part, and not making sure that the players were fully aware of different roles. But they're getting so much information. It's just picking the right things that they get given, and the ones that we can maybe save another day, so we don't completely overload them with information.
And yeah, as you were saying, there's been a lot of players that had showed up to practice, which is good, right? It's good for internal competition. But the reason we wanted to get you last week on the podcast as well was to get a starting 11, like a little roster going, see if we could get a sneak peek. But you surprised us with the squad, which we liked. It looked like relatively a young side, if I'm not mistaken, with a couple players there. But we were checking down the list on the roster, and there's a couple 2000 babies, and I think there's someone even 2002. I don't know if it was Ian Reese, the
Yeah,
youngest player, but we're like, this is nice. Let's see. We didn't know what to expect, but obviously the game talked to itself. But would you agree that you have a younger relative squad than I mean the competition itself? Academia might have a young side too, but did you see that
yeah.
you're gonna have a young squad?
I think we've got a good balance, but I wanted to make players fully aware. I mean, the academy at Napa United that the 1839 are partners with, um, I've done a phenomenal job in the last 3-4 years to get them now to an MLS Next level, which is the highest boys academy level in the country. So it would be silly for me not to look at those players. Um, and you mentioned Ian there. He was there with 1839 during the summer. Impressed and got signed by Sac Republic U19s. And is officially a Sac Republic player at the moment, and for a few more months until he ages out. But I wanted to show that age is nothing. If players are good enough and they're working hard and they're listening, regardless of their age, they'll get opportunities with me and play in the team, and that's exactly kind of what we had. We had two suspensions at centre back positions, um, which was overhanging from last season. So I was without two of those centre backs, and when Ian come in, it was more to get some training experience, but he impressed, and what I saw in training, I kind of trusted that I thought he would be able to handle the level, and yeah, I thought he done excellent for being someone so young. I mean, he's still at high school, so to compete against some big physical players, is great for him, and I've got no doubts he'll have a great future in the game for many years to come. Probably higher than 1839, to be honest.
No, yeah, we kept talking about it in the live stream. It's a player that definitely we should keep an eye out to see the growth, because this is just the beginning for him. He, like you said, he's still in high school. He has a lot to go. I'm sure he hasn't even peaked. So we'll be definitely tuning in for him. Um, but like we said, any other players that stood out? But are you planning on changing your squad for this next weekend against Academia in Turlock? How are you preparing for that?
Yeah, so there will definitely be two changes to the team. Two players are unavailable for this coming weekend, so there'll definitely be two changes. Whether that becomes a straight swap or a tweak in the system, I'm still a little bit undecided. Tomorrow at practice will give me a good indication of which way I go. I've got some ideas on both in terms of a system and personnel. But I like to see it on the field first before I then make that decision on what I'll be doing. But so going back to the original point, there's having that big blend of players. We've got some young ones, like you say, but we've also got some experienced ones like Alvaro playing next to him, who captained the side. Harvey in front has got great experience playing back in Spain and across on the East Coast and at college. And then we've got local players as well. So some guys who have come through Napa Valley College, through Napa United, who may live out of town, but are local guys who've been there from the start, like Poncho up front. Bologna didn't come on the game, but he was there in the squad, and it is a big part in the dressing room as well. He might not have played any minutes, but he's definitely a leader off the field for us. So I know you got a few mentions on the live stream. I see him as a big part of this team moving forward, even if it might not be on the field every single game like he was probably used to playing.
No, yeah, we mentioned him a lot because he's been there since day one pretty much, and like you said, even if he's not playing, he's there for the team. He hypes up the crowd and he hypes out the team overall. And I'm sure even in the locker room, he's a different person. Definitely the one you would need to pump up your team as a leader as well. But yeah, we're still willing to see more of him as well. And as you said, whenever he gets a chance, I'm sure he'll be able to show up. Um, but no, this has been great. Any other um, words you want to say to the fans out there that you probably want to make them be aware of the team, and what do you have in mind for the season?
So obviously our next home game is the Wine Country Derby against Sonoma. So we're hoping that we're going to get another good turnout for that. I know it's Father's Day weekend, so Eric and Josh, the owners, have got some cool things planned for the dads coming out for that game. So that'll be exciting. But I think anytime you play a derby, you want the fans kind of having that little extra cheer, a little bit louder to get the guys going. We're certainly looking forward to being back at home. We've got a tough game this weekend on the road. Academico, who won their first game 5-0. So we know that will be tough. But when we do get back to Napa, we're hoping that all those people that were there want to come back, but also tell other people about the fun times that they had, and that crowd keeps growing and growing. I think we were almost at capacity through the restrictions, but it looks like by the time that game gets played, we might have less restrictions, which will allow us to have a few more people in, which will be great. But yeah, keep supporting the team, keep getting out to games. Because the boys definitely appreciate it, and so do we as staff. But it just makes for that little bit extra that we need to keep going and going. They provide that almost like the 12th man. So we need to make sure that we've got that.
No, yeah, I think I think what Napa wants to do is be recognized as that team. When you're here, it's going to be tough to play against them, no matter who you are. And no, I think we wish you nothing but luck, coach, for this season. And I mean, Turlock is already looks like a nice test for the team overall, since they did beat Sonoma 5-0, like as we mentioned, and Sonoma would be the next opponent after Turlock. So we wish you nothing but luck. We'll be there closely following up the game. And yeah, we can't wait to come back and see the team, see what it's made out of for the Wine County Derby.
Yeah. Although we're on the road, it will be live streamed, so people can tune in at 7 p.m. Get some watch parties.
Mhm.
I think we can do a competition of a signed shirt for the best watch party gathering that we can get. Obviously, social distance. Um, but yeah, we can do some fun social media competition for that.
No, yeah, obviously, we won't be able to have our commentators on there like
Uh,
myself, but you could always catch us for the next game. But anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. I still have Luis Ramirez coming up next after you, and he's going to describe us that goal, touch a little bit more based on that goal, because that's really what I feel energized the team. Because after that, we just heard him, knocking the door 24/7 after that. So well, he's be coming in and explain his goal. But anything else you would want to say, Coach?
no, just thanks for what you're doing. I know um, I know my family watched the game back home, and they enjoyed it. It was actually like watching a game on TV with you and Chewy and
It was, yeah, Yami, Chewy, and
yeah,
Carmelo. They'll be hearing this too.
on the co-commentary. So it was a really good production. Some knowledgeable football fans on there, so they could see the shape we were playing, and spoke about it, and understood a little bit about the players and how the game. So it was a really good viewing. So you guys keep up the good work too, because when all the players watch it back as well, and they're sharing their videos, it's always great with commentary behind videos too.
Thank you, Coach. No, definitely. We'll keep trying our best. And we'll keep looking out for you guys too. Whatever comes in, let us know, and we'll be able to share that on the live stream.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in, like we said, and stay tuned. We still have Luis coming up on the podcast next. And until then, we'll see you.
Thanks. Take care, Danny.
Welcome. Welcome back. We're back for the part 2 of the podcast here with my friend Fernando Luis Ramirez. O cómo te gusta que te llamen, Fernando?
Luis, está bien.
Está
Luis
bien.
Sí.
No, pues sí, estamos aquí. Este podcast va a ser pues mitad inglés, mitad español, ahí como caiga aquí. Estamos haciéndole el esfuerzo con el compa Fernando. Ojalá este ya sea la segunda parte de la entrevista que están viendo, pero tuvimos a Mark hace rato entrevistándolo a él. Estaba tocando temas de ahí de cómo está el equipo, cómo se están viendo para esta próxima fecha que contra con la academia. Pero pues vamos a hablar de lo primero. La primera pregunta, the first question here, Fernando, ¿por qué te llaman Baby Shark?
Creo que es un sobrenombre, un apodo de vestidor, no lo puedo decir al aire.
Está bien, no, pues así. Es lo bonito que se lleven ahí entre todos, pues. Pero ya
Sí.
está, el Eric es el que me dije, no, pues yo no había escuchado ese nombre. Y ya me dijo, no, sí, así le llamamos. Digo, "Oh, está bien."
Sí, pero es un apodo de vestidor que no lo pueden escuchar los niños, pero sí, ya con más confianza luego les platico.
Está bien, pues así con ese golazo que te metiste el sábado, yo creo que va a ir saliendo poco a poco, pero cuéntanos cómo estuvo ese gol. ¿La pensaste? Porque honestamente, yo cuando si escuchas el live stream, cuando estamos platicando entre yo y Chuy, estamos diciendo, oye, pues si Fernando no mete gol, ¿a quién hay de opción? Y pues nosotros ahí estamos echándolo. Y ya
Ujú.
cuando vimos que pues tienes esa jugada, sacas el tiro y pues golazo, ya dijimos, no, pues ya tenemos goleador. Pero tú cómo te sintiste, viste esta oportunidad, tú
Sí,
creciendo.
fíjate, gracias a Dios se nos dio la oportunidad de marcar, tuvimos la suerte, la fortuna. Fíjate que sí lo había pensado cuando Luisito me dio el pase filtrado hacia la banda derecha. Yo vi al defensa que venía esperando que yo diera la diagonal hacia atrás. ¿Sí me explico? Y vi al portero también que estaba en el primer poste, entonces su segundo poste lo había dejado totalmente descubierto. Entonces, la verdad, o sea, no, mucha gente a lo mejor no me va a creer, pero la verdad sí lo pensé ahí. Y pues bueno, fue un gol de todos, fue gol del equipo, de la gente. Gracias a Dios salió un buen gol, pero pues más que nada en el gran apoyo pues de mis compañeros que también fueron parte de eso, que fue un gol de todos.
No, sí, y lo que me estaba diciendo el Eric mismo, es que tenías buen disparo. Pues yo en sí, lo bueno que estoy haciendo esta entrevista, pero en sí yo no conocía pues tu forma de juego o lo que sea, porque ya tienes, ¿cuántos tuviste desde la temporada de 2020 cuando ya iba a empezar todo y que se acabó? Ya estabas convocado, ¿no? Para el equipo.
Sí, fíjate que ya desde el año pasado, antes del COVID, jugamos dos partidos, jugamos contra el Farolito y jugamos contra Oakland Roots. Y llegó el COVID lastimosamente, pero sí estuve registrado ya con ellos y empezamos muy bien, lástima de la pandemia, pero pues ahora sí, otra vez estamos de vuelta con muchas ganas y pues a ver cómo nos va, ¿no?
No, sí, y cuéntanos, ¿tú dónde empezaste tu carrera? Porque no jugaste aquí en las high schools de Napa ni la Venice, ¿verdad? ¿Tú de dónde vienes
No,
jugando?
fíjate, yo soy de México, soy de Guadalajara, Jalisco, nací allá en Guadalajara. Yo inicié mi carrera a los 10 12 años, 10 11 años por ahí, en las fuerzas básicas de Chivas. Este, ahí surgió toda mi formación, ahí me hice en el Club Guadalajara. Después me fui a Pachuca y ahí pues se me dieron un poquito mejor las cosas, pude sobresalir un poquito más. Y ya después pues estuve en segundas y ahí navegando por varios equipos de México y al final, pues llego aquí, se da lo del COVID y sale una oportunidad en la Liga del Balompié Mexicano en Primera División y pues me voy para allá, nada más que pues ahora sí por motivos del COVID y la pandemia, pues las cosas no se pudieron dar como yo esperaba, pero pues fue una gran experiencia, mucho aprendizaje y creo que ahora vengo un poco más preparado para los nuevos retos que se vengan para el Napa,
No,
para el
Kevin,
equipo.
entonces eres Chiva hermano, entonces.
Le voy al Atlas, fíjate, te voy a quedar mal.
Uh.
Pero sí, ahí estuve en Chivas, la verdad que estoy muy agradecido con esa institución porque pues por ellos llegué a donde llegué, porque ahí fue toda mi formación, aprendí todo lo que soy ahora y pues aquí estamos ahora en Napa y pues esperando grandes cosas.
No, pues Kevin, que me dijiste, ya te estás ganando puntos conmigo porque yo también nací en Guadalajara, Jalisco y
Ah,
pues
bien,
le voy a las Chivas, así que
somos
ya tienes
paisas,
buen gusto.
muy
Pero,
bien.
pero no, está bien. Esta información yo no la tenía, pero qué bien. Eso, pues tú muy bien lo dijiste, que en las Chivas te ayudó mucho, obviamente jugando con equipos, dices que Pachuca y otros equipos por ahí. Eso le falta mucho al fútbol de aquí americano, se puede decir, porque
Sí,
es poquito, como tú sabrás, también es un diferente estilo, obviamente,
sí,
pero pues
claro,
las cosas buenas salen de ahí y obviamente ya que te tenemos aquí, pues podemos confiar en que también puedes hacer buenas cosas como este gol que vimos otra vez. Pero en este instante, cuando metiste ese gol, parece que hay una foto, o pues mismo en el video se ve que fuiste a abrazar a un fan. ¿Era tu amigo, tu hermano o era nomás uno que andaba echando porras?
Fíjate que es uno de los integrantes de nuestro grupo de ahí de Napa, Brian Marín. Es
Oh, era Brian.
Sí, es Brian Marín.
Órale.
Fíjate que fui a abrazarlo porque él y yo tenemos como una gran unión. Somos como hermanos, la verdad, nos llevamos bastante bien. Y yo cuando yo he estado en malos momentos, él ha estado conmigo y ahorita, a lo mejor ahorita él no ha sido tomado en cuenta para los partidos por el profe y yo estoy apoyándolo mucho, le estoy dando pues consejos de que no se deje caer, o sea, estoy ahorita en un mal momento que le está pasando y yo estoy también ahí. Entonces, cuando yo salgo al medio tiempo, para mí el juego no fue muy bueno este sábado, la verdad para mí fue un juego para el olvido, no, ese partido estuvo muy mal para mí en lo personal, este, pero cuando salgo al medio tiempo, él me estaba esperando en la entrada del vestidor y me dijo, hey Luis, nada más te pido una. Entonces le dije, sí, está bien. Me traté de cambiar mi mentalidad para iniciar el segundo tiempo de la mejor manera. Y pues cuando salgo y ya salgo ahora sí que con el cuchillo entre los dientes para ir por el rival y se me da el gol, entonces pues lo primero que fue abrazar a mis compañeros y abrazar a Brian, que la verdad estuvo y ha estado en malos momentos apoyándome, entonces creo que él se merece un abrazo de gol como fue ese.
Órale, no, ni lo reconocí en las fotos, pero sí, no, también jugó para Napa, me tocó entrevistarlo, parece que la primera temporada, parece que andaba jugando con ellos, pero entonces también está yendo a las prácticas y el entrenamiento
Sí,
también.
todavía es parte del
Órale.
grupo, nada más pues está esperando su oportunidad, esperemos en Dios le llegue pronto.
Oh, pues esto me lleva a la segunda pregunta, pues obviamente los delanteros que nosotros vimos fuiste tú y Mendoza, Francisco Mendoza, y parece que obviamente tenemos a otro en cuenta que es el Billy, el güerito también, y no sé quién más está de ahí, pero entonces sí hay varios delanteros
Sí,
compitiendo
fíjate
por
que
un
sí,
lugar.
sí, hay varios delanteros que están compitiendo por un lugar pero bueno, pues ahorita lo más importante es lograr como equipo llegar al objetivo que es como mínimo llegar a los playoffs y pues ahora sí que el que esté mejor va a ser el que está jugando y pues estar atentos porque pues Dios no lo quiera, te puedes lesionar o no sé, te puedes estar cansado, entonces los chicos que están en la banca creo que son muy, muy importantes porque te pueden dar ese plus cuando entran de cambio. Entonces creo que ellos pueden marcar la diferencia y ellos también juegan un papel muy, muy importante dentro del terreno de juego.
No, sí, eso lo platicamos. Jugadores hay bastantes, bueno, y la competición está alta y la calidad está alta en estas instancias. Ya vimos unos que ya tienen contrato con el Sacramento Republic, el que es lateral, parece, no, el central, el Ian Reese, parece que me estaba diciendo Mark que ya tiene contrato por allá y todos los chavos que ya tienen como futuro. Buen futuro, pues, por destacar, todavía les falta, obviamente, pero a esta edad, viéndolos competir, obviamente, como tú dices, no era el resultado ideal para ustedes, pero yo creo que la gente se quedó contenta de, aunque sea ver ese golazo, yo sigo repitiendo esto porque yo también estaba diciendo, ¿sabes qué, Chuy? Los que están de comentaristas conmigo, Chuy y Carmelo y Yami, le estaba diciendo, ocupamos un gol y va a caer, no sé de quién, pero va a caer y lo sentimos en el aire y no lo vimos, pero también estamos platicando que tú tal vez fuiste el que rompiste la red, ¿no? Cuando, porque ese hoyo no estaba ahí, dijimos, tal vez ese fue el que hizo Fernando y no sé si así lo viste tú.
No sabré decirte, pero pues también fue, yo cuando vi ese tiro de Argent, que entró por un lado de la red, yo la verdad honestamente lo vi que entró y me paré como loco a festejar, pero pues lamentablemente dijeron que no era gol, pero no, creo que no estaba rota, pero la verdad no sé.
No, sí, fue bastante fuerte de todos modos, pero unas palabras antes de cortarlo aquí la entrevista, pero unas palabras para la gente que salió a apoyar y que va a seguir apoyando en estos juegos, especialmente en el Wine Derby que es para en 2 semanas, parece junio 19. ¿Qué palabras tienes para esos, para los que están viendo, como dicen los chavalitos que están viendo jugar? Any words for the audience, for the crowd out there, for the fans?
No, pues primero que nada, estoy muy, muy agradecido con todo el apoyo que demostraron toda la gente, todos los fans. Fue una gran satisfacción escucharlos, hacer los cánticos, escucharlos apoyar al equipo. Cuando, gracias a Dios, se me dio la oportunidad de anotar gol, lo bonito que fue que todo, o sea, ver a todos festejar al mismo tiempo, que todos estábamos en la misma página, que ese día el estadio no eran solo los jugadores y los fans, sino que era toda una familia junta. Entonces, creo que más que nada decirles gracias y que los seguiremos esperando para que nos vayan a apoyar y que de mi parte prometo no defraudarlos y voy a estar al 100% comprometido con el equipo pues con la gente, que vayan y se lleven una gran satisfacción en este clásico que viene.
Y por último, ¿cuál es tu meta? Decir, ¿cuántos goles quieres meter? Se puede decir, o te debes meter a ser campeón de goleo, lo que sea. ¿Cuántos piensas que puedes meter esta temporada que sigue?
Bueno, sería, creo que blasfemar si digo cuántos, pero pues no sé, creo que son 10 partidos o 9.
Sí, parece que sí, son 9, ¿no? No estoy
Sí.
seguro tampoco.
Ajá, bueno, pues mínimo, uno por partido para que se ponga bueno esto, ¿no?
Órale, órale. Pues ya lo escucharon, señores y señores, señoras y señoras, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Aquí está Fernando, nos está prometiendo unos cuantos goles y pues se va a poner bueno, pues el derby es donde va a haber mucha gente también. Yo no voy a estar ahí, pero ahí estaré en espíritu, se puede decir. Y pues les deseamos suerte a ustedes y ojalá te pueda tener otra vez aquí para entrevistarte para más goles, porque pues eso es lo que quiere la gente, es lo que queremos ver nosotros y hay más acción. Con que ustedes estén echándole ganas, pues ahí vamos a estar nosotros.
Sí, claro que sí, Juan. Cuando tú me invites, claro que sí, aquí estaremos presentes en tu canal y pues nada, invitar a la gente también a ti que te que te siga viendo, escuchándote y pues muchas gracias por la invitación y cómo no, aquí estaremos con gusto.
Ya está. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. This was the end of the second interview sequence, and hope you guys got some good insight of Fernando here. He has a great career in Mexico, and now he's bringing that experience here to the pitches. Is something that we wanted, something that we needed here at 1839. Thank you guys for tuning in, and till then.